Jon Keating, Head of Business Operations at GM Active. Welcome to Icebreaker. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you, Libby. And yourself?
I'm good, thanks. I'm good. We've just been having a laugh, haven't we? We're just this isn't going out till January, but we're on that run into Christmas, aren't we? So we're both a bit
So in
demobbed.
January, it's going to look a bit daft that I'm wearing my Christmas jumper, right? So,
Well, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Doesn't matter. You can wear a Christmas jumper any time of the year, I
okay,
think.
well, Happy New Year to everyone that's listening.
Brilliant. Brilliant. First Happy New Year on Icebreaker. Right, should we go for it? Would you like your categories?
I'm ready.
Right, categories are values and purpose, rapport, self-awareness, systems thinking, or teamship. What are you going to go for?
Let's go for a little bit of systems thinking.
Nice. I like it a lot. People don't tend to go for that one. Right.
Is that because it's in the too difficult to deal with box?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? I hope not. I hope not. It's in there because I'm a systemic team coach. So when I'm working with teams, we talk a lot about the system they're in and that sort of stuff. That's why the category's in there. So, well, let's see. You can always pass if you don't like the question. Can I have a number between 1 and 10, please, Jon?
7.
7. Oh, somebody went for 7 the other day. Count backwards.
Were they also a Man United fan? So you're thinking about the famous number 7 shirt?
Oh, no. Oh, I don't know. I don't think they're a Man United fan. Now you've got me. Now you're sending me off on a tangent. I like this. Very disruptive. Okay. Here's your question. Are you ready? What's one thing that influences an environment more than people realise?
The biggest one for me, cultural environment, is probably your influences within your family, your peer group, and your friendship groups, etc. I think those that are sporty have come from an environment where they're surrounded by people that are sporty people, for example, or physical activities is really important to them. So, but the flip side of that is true as well, isn't it? If you've come from a background where actually physical activity or movement and sport is not necessarily part of your environment and part of your genuine kind of makeup of friendship groups, families, etc., then that would be a big thing. And I think all of the opportunities that I've had have been because actually more led by my dad than my mum, but has been very much of this is the environment in which you're kind of born into, and therefore it leads into that, doesn't it? So how do we break? And that becomes quite a big cyclical thing. And how do we break that cycle? How do we encourage people that have come from maybe less active scenarios to change that habit, I guess, and that's the big thing. I think if you go and stand on the sidelines like I do with lads that play, my 2 lads play football and rugby, so you can imagine the fun that we have about one being soft because he's a footballer and the other one saying, yeah, but I'm a tough rugby player. So the battles we have in my house is quite good fun. I stick with the rugby player, to be fair, but I agree with him. But I do think that you look at the sidelines and, it's all people, particularly thinking rugby, it's lots and lots of families and someone's had input or had a background of being part of rugby, haven't they? So I think that is massively influential. And if you've not had the opportunity, how do you get into a sport or a sport or an activity that you've never really been given that open opportunity for in the past? So I do think swimming was a big part of me growing up, and that was my competitive sport. That didn't come from my dad being a competitive swimmer. It came from the fact that we're actually from South Wales. I was born in Cardiff. My whole family are from Barry. So we can start talking Gavin and Stacey if you want to, because that's where my family's from. But yeah, as long as you don't say I look like Smithy, then I'll be okay. But that for my dad was actually, we were going to go back to South Wales every single summer and lots of holidays. And so swimming was an important thing because we were going to spend lots of time at a beach in Barry called Jackson's Bay. So
Yeah.
actually, it was a safety thing, and it just happened that I ended up being quite
Ah,
good at it. So I ended
yeah.
up going in down that sort of competitive swimming route. But sport in its entirety, I remember my dad once saying, "Right, you've got a choice on a Sunday, having come from South Wales, but we then moved over to Leicester. You can go to Sunday school or you can play mini rugby." I went to Sunday school once, was bored to tears as a 6-year-old. Went and tried rugby and carried on playing that. So yeah, so it's different
Yeah.
experiences, isn't it? So I think in terms of that environment of what you're introduced to is probably massively, massively important, and something that we maybe aren't thinking about in terms of that children and young people coming through
Yeah.
that maybe become more sedentary because that's what they've actually been introduced to,
Yeah, because the
because that's their
environment they've
background.
been brought in the background. And then of course what fascinates me and what interests me, particularly when I'm working with teams and organizations, is we bring all this stuff with us into the workplace, don't we? And I particularly notice it in the leisure sector, actually, that people in leisure are really competitive because so many people have that background and everyone's really competitive. And then when you're trying to build a team around a strategic purpose for an organization, that competitiveness comes into the team environment. And there's that you've got to break that down and get people working together, which I think
And
is
I think that,
fascinating.
and I think the challenge to that, Libby, is a really good point. That actually, if you think kind of the direction of travel, active well-being, and trying to get more people to be physically active and move more, and micro movement, and all the rest of it, moving frequently and things like that. The whole sector is full of people that enjoy sport or probably enjoyed PE at school. And if we rewind it all the way back, we all probably enjoyed PE at school. Um, yeah, what we're trying to really get into is people that are not necessarily
Yeah.
wired the same way as us and didn't enjoy that experience and absolutely despised school PE and things. And so we haven't got that lived experience to sort of challenge their
Yeah.
thinking. Actually, we're not talking about kind of, we're all going out to have a game of netball, or we're all going out to get freezing cold and play rugby with freezing fingers and things like that. So this is different, and I think there's too much maybe of our sector that still has that. This is about sporty people. This isn't necessarily just about actually active wellbeing walks or exercise referral and things like that. So I think the makeup of our industry is probably all very similar, isn't it? And
Yeah.
that's part of the challenge.
I think so. Yeah, I definitely noticed it when because my background isn't leisure. My background's change and transformation, and then I was brought in to support the development of a tackle, and then I worked for the tackle, and so I don't have that mindset. But it's one of the things because I work observationally, and it's one of the things that I noticed about the people that I was working with, all really competitive, which is fascinating, but then very hard when you're trying to build these networks and do things differently if you've got that mindset. So yeah, and
And I
no one
think
likes a
it plays into that.
process either.
It plays into that someone like me, doesn't it? So, if you're trying to encourage people to come into our space, and it's someone like me, actually, and I think we're still probably we're not great at doing this in terms of the marketing literature and imagery that we push out. Often, amazing figure, 6-pack, beach body, kind of the magazine type look kind of thing, and you're thinking, I can't identify with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and therefore I would look at that, or some people would look at that. Obviously I've got the 6-pack, and I'm beach ready at all times. So not in the lead up to Christmas, I will say. But how do you think, actually, how do you do that marketing and imagery that says, actually, that is a space for me, rather than that sort of bronzed 6-pack look?
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Well, we're really in the systems thinking bit now, aren't we? We've really got into that whole how's the system work and who's in the system. And yeah, so that's
And I think,
interesting. I could talk about this all day.
I mean, greater management. So the reason I picked on systems thinking is, I guess, during 2025, probably more of my work has been about connecting with other parts of the system. So
Yeah.
across Greater Manchester, linking in with Transport for Greater Manchester in terms of the B network, because we know that 30% of households across Greater Manchester don't own a car. So therefore, how are we going to get people to come and be physically active in some of the spaces and services that we offer if public transport is not connecting them to that to get there? Equally, working with the combined authority more and more to look at something called the Live Well campaign and the Be Well campaign across Greater Manchester. So more and more, I think the system for us is moving outside of that echo chamber and actually connecting all of these different dots more and more so. And actually, 2025 for me has been a big experience of making new connections and doing all of that.
Yeah, and you'll get all the different perspectives as well as you're building that network, don't you? And then that's where the great ideas start to get generated because people have a different perspective. Oh, I love this conversation. I just want to talk all day. This is not like the usual icebreaker, by the way, but I absolutely love it. I'm going
to play into the competitive role here. Does that mean that this is better?
Oh, they're all good. They're all good.
I'll score out of 10. What do we get?
Oh, I'm not going to give you a score. That's unfair. Oh,
that's for the viewers to do, right?
Everyone gets a 10. Oh, brilliant. Oh, I've really enjoyed that. Thanks, Jon. Shall we do the wrap up?
We can.
The wrap up is where I ask you if there's anyone you would like to nominate. Come on and run the gauntlet of a question that they don't know what the question is.
I'm going to nominate someone that I've recently connected with, but I know she's doing some really good things across in one of the GM boroughs of Oldham, and that's Lauren Connis.
Oh, right, brilliant. I don't know Lauren, so I shall look forward to connecting with her and hopefully she'll want to come on and join me. That would be really great. Well, I've loved today. Thank you for this chat. I feel like we've got so much more to talk about.
Definitely. Icebreaker part 2.